I can still smell the leather and mahogany of my father's office, still see the sunlight streaming through the floor-to-ceiling windows of Hudson Industries headquarters. That day is burned into my memory. The day my father chose my stepsister over his own daughter. Olivia, you need to understand. My father's voice was firm as he stood behind his imposing desk. Madison has an MBA from Harvard. She's been groomed for this position. I gripped the arms of my chair, fighting to keep my voice steady. And my degree in engineering from MIT means nothing. The patents I've developed for the company, the innovations I've brought to our product line, those are technical achievements he dismissed with a wave. Running Hudson Industries requires business acumen, leadership skills. Skills that I've demonstrated for the past 5 years as head of R&D. I interrupted. Our department's productivity has doubled under my leadership. Madison, my stepsister of 3 years, sat perfectly poised in the adjacent chair, a smile playing at the corners of her mouth. She'd been in the company for exactly 8 months. Olivia, my father sighed, using the same tone he used when I was a child asking too many questions. Madison understands the big picture. She knows how to navigate the corporate world, how to maintain our relationships with investors. Even she knows how to play golf with board members and laugh at their jokes. I cut in, unable to contain my bitterness. Madison's smile didn't waver. Don't be bitter, darling. You'll still have your little workshop to play with your gadgets. I turned to her, years of resentment bubbling to the surface. Ever since my father had married her mother, Madison had been systematically working to replace me, not just in the company, but in my father's life. Those gadgets account for 60% of our revenue, I said coldly. But you'd know that if he'd ever bothered to read a financial report instead of just the society pages. That's enough. My father's voice cracked like a whip. The decision is made. Madison will be taking over as CEO when I retire next month. You're not qualified to run this business, Olivia. You're an engineer, not a leader. The words hit like physical blows. Not qualified. Not a leader. Just an engineer. I stood up slowly, my mind surprisingly clear despite the earthquake happening in my heart. I see. Then you won't mind if this just an engineer resigns effective immediately. For the first time, my father's composure cracked. Don't be dramatic. You can't just walk away. Watch me. I turned and walked to the door, but Madison's voice stopped me. Don't forget your non-compete agreement, dear sister. You won't be developing any more gadgets for our competitors. I looked back at them, my father, already recovering his stern expression, and Madison, radiating triumph from her perfectly styled hair to her designer heels. You're right, Madison. I won't be competing with Hudson Industries. I smiled, and something in my expression made her smile falter. I'll be leaving it in the dust. The next hour passed in a blur. I returned to my office, my workshop, as Madison called it, and began systematically downloading my personal files. Everything I developed outside of company time, every idea I kept in reserve, every innovation I hadn't yet shared. My team watched in silence as I packed my things. They were good people, brilliant engineers who had helped turn my visions into reality. Most have been here longer than Madison had been out of business school. Dr. Hudson, Maria, my senior engineer, stepped into my office. Is it true? I nodded, not trusting myself to speak. Then we're coming with you. I looked up, startled. What? All of us. She gestured to the team gathered outside my door. We've already drafted our resignations. Wherever you're going, we're going too. For the first time that day, tears threatened to fall. The non-compete doesn't apply to non-executive employees, Maria smiled. We checked. My father appeared in the doorway, his face darkening as he took in the scene. What's going on here? A mass exodus, it appears, I said calmly, closing my laptop. Though I'm sure Madison can replace these technical people easily enough. You can't take my entire R&D team. Your R&D team? I raised an eyebrow. I thought I wasn't qualified to lead. He stepped forward, lowering his voice. Olivia, be reasonable. You're acting out of emotion. No, Dad. For the first time, I'm acting purely on logic. I picked up my box of belongings. Madison can have your company. I'll build my own. Maria and the team followed me out, leaving my father standing in my empty office. As we waited for the elevator, I could hear Madison's voice drifting down the hall. Daddy, don't worry. We can hire new engineers. more qualified ones. That night, I sat in my apartment surrounded by boxes of research notes and prototype designs. My phone kept buzzing, messages from my father ranging from angry to pleading, from Madison gloating about her new office, from board members expressing their regret about my departure. I ignored them all, focusing instead on my laptop where I was outlining plans for something new. Something that would make Hudson Industries technology look like ancient history. The non-compete agreement prevented me from working in our current market for 2 years. But I had been developing ideas for an entirely new market, one that Madison, with all her Harvard business acumen, hadn't even realized existed. My team and I met the next day in a rented office space that smelled of fresh paint and possibility. 28 engineers, all top in their fields, all choosing to follow me into uncertainty. It won't be easy, I warned them. We're starting from scratch. We know, Maria replied. But we'd rather build something new with you than maintain something old with them. I looked around at their eager faces and felt a surge of determination. My father thought I wasn't qualified to lead. Madison thought I just played with gadgets. I opened my laptop and pulled up the designs I'd been working on in secret for the past year. As I explained my vision, I saw their eyes light up with understanding and excitement. This wasn't just about proving my father wrong anymore. It was about proving myself right. Dr. Hudson, one of the younger engineers, raised his hand. What are we calling this new company? I smiled, thinking of Madison sitting in my father's office, probably already redecorating. Phoenix Technologies, because sometimes you have to burn everything down to build something better. As we worked late into the night, I could see Hudson Industries building from our window. My father's empire, soon to be Madison's inheritance. They thought they had won today, but they didn't know what was coming. They didn't know that every time they had dismissed me as just an engineer, I had been quietly building the foundation for something revolutionary, something that would change the entire industry. In 2 years, when the non-compete expired, they would learn exactly what they had lost. But by then, it would be too late. Because the girl they thought wasn't qualified to lead was about to show them what real leadership looked like. And it would be spectacular. 3 years can change everything. I stood in my office at Phoenix Technologies headquarters, watching the morning sun glint off the glass and steel of our newly completed research campus. Below, employees streamed into the building, each wearing the distinctive Phoenix emblem that had become synonymous with innovation in the tech world. Dr. Hudson, my assistant's voice came through the intercom. They're here. I smiled slightly. How many? 3, your father, Madison, and their CFO. Let them wait in the lobby for 20 minutes, then bring them up. A petty power play, perhaps, but after what they put me through, I'd earned it. I turned to the wall of screens displaying Phoenix Technologies' latest achievements. Our stock price, up 400% since our IPO last year. Our market share, now dominating the emerging quantum computing sector. And our latest innovation, the one that had forced my father and stepsister to finally swallow their pride and come begging. The quantum processor we developed didn't just improve on existing technology, it revolutionized it. While Hudson Industries had been churning out minor upgrades to their traditional computer components, we've been quietly building the future. They're on their way up, my assistant announced. I straightened my suit, not the designer labels Madison favored, but a sleek, professional cut that spoke of confidence rather than fashion. Thank you, Sarah. The door opened, and there they were. My father looked older, the stress of recent years evident in his face. Madison's perfect appearance showed cracks, her smile strained, her designer outfit slightly less pristine than usual. The CFO, a new face, clutched a folder of documents like a shield. Olivia, my father started, then stopped, taking in the view from my office. The same floor-to-ceiling windows as his old office, but now looking out over a campus 3 times the size of Hudson Industries. Welcome to Phoenix Technologies, I said calmly. Please sit. They took their seats. Power dynamics shifted, roles reversed. Now I was the one behind the imposing desk. Madison spoke first, her voice lacking its usual smugness. You've done well for yourself. Have I? I pulled up a holoscreen, another Phoenix innovation. Let's talk about why you're really here. The CFO opened his folder, but I waved him off. No need. I know your numbers better than you do. Hudson Industries is 3 months from bankruptcy. Your market share has dropped 70% in the past year. Your stock price hit an all-time low yesterday. The market has been volatile, Madison defended weakly. The market has been evolving, I corrected. While you were maintaining the status quo, we were revolutionizing it. That's why you're here, isn't it? You need our quantum processors to stay relevant. My father leaned forward. We're prepared to offer a very generous licensing agreement. No. The silence that followed was deafening. No. Madison's composure cracked. What do you mean no? I stood up, walking to the window. 3 years ago, you told me I wasn't qualified to lead, that I was just an engineer playing with gadgets, remember? She had the grace to look uncomfortable. Now you want to license our technology? The technology developed by the person you deemed unqualified? I turned back to them. The answer is no. Olivia, my father's voice took on the stern tone I remembered from childhood. Don't let personal feelings interfere with business. Personal feelings? I laughed. This is pure business. Phoenix Technologies doesn't license our core technology to competitors. We never have. You'd know that if you'd done your homework. Then why agree to this meeting? Madison demanded. I sat back down, folding my hands on my desk. Because I have a counter offer. Phoenix Technologies will acquire Hudson Industries. Absolutely not, my father thundered. Your board has already approved it, I said calmly, enjoying their shocked expressions. They voted this morning. The only thing needed is the family signatures, which, as you know, is required by the company charter. I pulled up another screen showing the terms. We'll absorb your existing contracts, retain most of your employees, and maintain the Hudson name on select legacy products. You'll receive fair compensation for your shares. Madison's face had gone pale. And what about us? You'll be offered positions in our marketing division. Entry level, of course. You'll need to learn the business from the ground up, something you should have done 3 years ago. This is absurd, my father sputtered. You can't possibly. Actually, I can. And I will. I looked him in the eye. Unless you prefer bankruptcy, your choice. The CFO, who had been frantically reviewing the acquisition terms, cleared his throat. Sir, these terms are actually quite generous considering our position. My father slumped in his chair, the fight draining out of him. Madison stared at her manicured hands, tears threatening to ruin her perfect makeup. Why, she whispered. Why not just let Hudson Industries fail? It would be the perfect revenge. Because that's not what leaders do. I stood up again, facing the campus I built. A real leader doesn't destroy things out of spite. They build something better. They create opportunities not just for themselves, but for others. I turned back to them. Hudson Industries employs thousands of people. They don't deserve to suffer because of your poor leadership. Under Phoenix, they'll have the chance to be part of something revolutionary. And us? My father asked quietly. What happens to us? You get what you wanted, the chance to see if Madison can work her way up through the ranks, starting from the bottom, earning her position through merit rather than nepotism. Madison flinched. As for you, Dad, I softened my tone slightly. You can retire with dignity, knowing the company you built will live on as part of something greater. Or you can join our board of advisors, not as my father, but as someone who might still have wisdom to share. Your choice. The signing took less than an hour. As they stood to leave, my father paused at the door. Olivia, I was wrong. About you, about everything. I know. After they left, I stayed at my window, watching as they crossed the campus to their waiting cars. 3 years ago, I had stood in a similar office, being told I wasn't qualified to lead. Now I had built something beyond their wildest dreams. Maria knocked and entered, smiling as she saw me lost in thought. Feeling sentimental. Just appreciating the irony, I replied. They thought leadership was about business school credentials and golf course deals, instead of innovation, vision, and actually understanding what you're trying to build. Exactly. I turned from the window. Schedule a company-wide meeting for tomorrow. It's time to share our next breakthrough. The neural interface project. I nodded. Madison thought quantum computing was revolutionary. Wait until she sees what we're doing next. As I prepared for tomorrow's presentation, I thought about the lesson my father and Madison had never understood. True leadership isn't about titles or MBAs or family connections. It's about having the vision to see what's possible, the skills to make it reality, and the wisdom to bring others along on the journey. They had inherited a company and driven it into the ground. I had built an empire and lifted thousands up with me. And that was the greatest revenge of all, not destroying what they had, but creating something so much greater that they had no choice but to become part of it. Sometimes the best way to prove someone wrong isn't to tear them down, but to rise so high they have no choice but to look up to you, even if they have to start from the bottom to do it.